Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Menopause Moguls, navigating midlife-ish with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. So ladies, listen. Okay, so I know many of you have been searching for that one thing, that magic pill that will fix those hot flashes, calm your mood, clear up the brain fog, bring back some energy, get rid of the belly fat, or even just elevate your sense of purpose. We need to talk, right? We need to talk because, the world is banking on you wanting that quick fix, right? I need that quick fix to get rid of these symptoms so I can go on with my life and get back to normal. Before I get to that, the whole word fixing, right? We talk about perimenopause and menopause. We don't really need to be fixed, y'all. Okay. Let me put that out there. We're not broken. We just need to learn how to adjust. Okay. So I have a problem with that word fix. But anyway, okay. But they want us to be looking for the quick fix, right? Get back to normal. They know we're exhausted. We're tired of struggling. We are tired of being on the struggle bus and feeling like we're the only ones out here. We're doing all the things, and these menopausal symptoms are really just, like I said, all the things are just getting us, overwhelmed. But here's the truth. There is no magic pill for perimenopause or menopause. There's no magic pill. And menopause hormone therapy is not the magic pill either. Okay. If people were, I think there's been like this thought that maybe if I just get on hormone therapy, that would be the magic pill or the magic patch and it will be all better. But we're going to talk about why that is not true today. Okay. So before I talk about why that's not true and what the truth is, I just want to say thank you because, I always do. I always like to thank you all for tuning back in, sharing the podcast. I really appreciate it. We just had Thanksgiving. So we're in the season of gratitude. So I just want to thank you all again for tuning in and listening. So when we talk about experiencing all the symptoms that we may be experiencing in perimenopause and menopause, a lot of us have been conditioned to push through, especially us Black women, right? We conditioned to just push through it, girl, just endure it, and just hopefully it'll just all be better and you'll be able to move on with your life. But when the symptoms hit us, it's like the irritability, the night sweats, the problems with sleeping, the menopause middle, like all these things are just it can be overwhelming. It can be definitely disruptive, right? And we really want the quick path to quote unquote normal, right? We want to get back to how we were feeling before. And I think a lot of the, pharmaceutical industry, even the wellness industries, they know this, right? So they come up with all these things, all these, whether it's supplements or medications, like, oh yeah, take this and this will get you off the struggle bus. But here's the thing, like they bank on us looking and searching for things outside of us when we really should be searching within ourselves. And I say this just from my own perimenopause journey, as well as working with patients and clients. I've had patients who are, dealing with, professional women, and they're having hot flashes, mood irritability, low libido. They came to me on hormone therapy, but still not feeling normal, not feeling unfulfilled. And after more conversations, we get to the root of it all. It's just deeper than that. It's just deeper than just fixing the symptoms. Even, one of my clients, she didn't do hormone therapy, but she did supplements before she, started my Menopause Moguls program. also a professional in the mental health space, mom of two, caregiver for her mother, married, and, doing all the things, juggling all these things, started a supplement for hot flashes, also having brain fog and irritability and all these things, and still wasn't feeling like herself. And she also was feeling called to do something outside of her mental health practice, but really didn't know what that was because of all the things that she was experiencing physiologically and mentally and emotionally. And again, having more conversations, coaching, and all the things, realizing that it's just deeper than that. So does hormone therapy, do medications work? Yes, they absolutely do. They certainly can provide the relief that many women are looking for. But here's the thing. Even when we are potentially starting hormones or anything outside of, a supplement or prescription of some sort, we're still stressed, right? We're still doing all the things. We're still feeling unfulfilled. And some of us may be feeling like we're being called to do something more outside of our careers. But at the same time, feel like we can't because of what we're experiencing and what we're feeling. So hormone therapy can support the hormonal shifts, but it cannot support us in the identity shifts that are happening. It cannot support the shift in our habits that we need to start doing, and also unlearning certain things so that we actually feel more in tune with our bodies and feel grounded. Hormone therapy can't fix boundary setting, nor our inner peace. Okay. That part is left up to us, right? Ourselves, as women navigating these transitions. So before we talk about how we do that, just a little bit about what menopause hormone therapy is. When we talk about hormone therapy, we are referring to there's different formulations of hormones, right? And I know there's a lot of information out there, right? Lots of information. And even us doctors, we have to decipher through it all to see what's true, what's not, what is suggestive, and what, is false, so there's a lot of things to sift through, which I totally get can be overwhelming. That's why I am always, reading a journal article or, excuse me, different studies that's been taking place when it comes to menopause health and care and all those things, and trying to, figure out what is the appropriate information that women really need to know in order to make a informed decision on their next step when they're navigating this time of life. So just in general, hormone therapy is safe. I know there's been years, because of the big study, Women's Health Initiative, WHI study, came out basically over 20 years ago saying that hormones were bad and oh my gosh, so women got off of it, doctors stopped prescribing it, a lot of doctors stopped prescribing it, and women have been suffering in silence because of it. So after analyzing that study again and realizing what they put out 20 years ago was not true, now we are here. And doctors and women are more comfortable going back to hormone therapy because it is an effective treatment, right? So again, the formulations, it can be estrogen by itself. It can be estrogen and progesterone. It can be testosterone. It can be selective estrogen, what we call selective estrogen modulator. So there's different formulations that can come in pills, patches, creams, gels. And, when we're thinking about, what hormone therapy does, a lot of women think, or I think it's kind of presented because it was originally called hormone replacement therapy. So many think that, oh, we're replacing the hormones that you're losing. And the real deal is that you continue to lose, you're losing the sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. But the hormone therapy is not giving you back those hormones, like those hormones you had when you were 25, like in your, early reproductive years, right? So when we're entering this transition, estradiol or estradiol is the most dominant estrogen, that when it's basically fluctuating, that's what's causing us to have the symptoms. And at the same time as that is fluctuating, essentially like on a roller coaster, the progesterone and the testosterone are gradually falling. So because of that gap between what estrogen is doing and compared to progesterone and testosterone, the purpose of the hormones is essentially just kind of help close that gap so we are better adjusted to the fluctuations of what our body is doing and the changes that are happening within our bodies. So essentially it's kind of providing, kind of filling in that gap of, between what estrogen is doing and progesterone and testosterone, essentially, to make us not feel so crazy as our body is trying to adjust to the changes. So starting hormone therapy is not going to stop us from, going into subsequent, menopause, right? Like essentially it's just basically helping our bodies or supporting our bodies as we're adjusting to that decline of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone in that transition. So the hormone therapy itself, it's essentially FDA has approved hormone therapy for vasomotor symptoms, which are your hot flashes and night sweats, prevention of bone loss, which is also called osteoporosis, and genital urinary symptoms. Genital urinary symptoms are your vaginal symptoms and your like vaginal dryness, and your urinary symptoms like recurrent urinary tract infections or urinary urgency, those things. So the FDA has approved hormone therapy for those specific things. Okay. But there's a whole lot of other symptoms that's happening, right? Like there's over 35 symptoms of perimenopause, menopause, right? So hormone therapy can address those too, right? Potentially. And there's some studies that actually show improvement in cognition and cardiovascular health and bone health, right? But currently there isn't any evidence that certainly proves that starting hormone therapy can definitely improve your cognition and cardiovascular health. So it's kind of, it can be definitely beneficial, but at the same token, not a guarantee, right? So it requires a conversation, right? To see if you are a candidate for it based on the symptoms that you're experiencing as well as your medical history, because there are people who are not able to take hormone therapy, and those women are those who have estrogen sensitive cancers, history of heart disease or heart attack and stroke, or clotting disorders and things like that. Those women are not able to take hormone therapy. One side of that, actually, with women with breast cancer, there has been evidence that women with breast cancer can potentially use vaginal estrogen, which is also a hormone therapy, vaginal estrogen for vaginal dryness and, vaginal urinary symptoms. But that also requires a conversation with obviously the patient, as well as her oncologist and her GYN, whoever's on her healthcare team, just to ensure that it is definitely safe. But it has been shown that because the vaginal estrogen does not work systemically, it works very locally within the vagina, it is potentially safe for women with breast cancer, with a history of breast cancer. But again, is it for everybody? Not necessarily. So again, this conversation is required to see if that's an option. So when we talk about risk of hormone therapy, just in general, like a generalized risk of taking hormones, obviously women have heard about the risk of breast cancer, stroke, blood clots, heart attacks, and those type of things. Now, those risks are possible, but it also depends on the type of formulation of hormones that you're taking, the type of estrogen and progesterones, because they're synthetic versus bioidentical. Bioidentical means those hormones are look similarly to your natural hormones, as opposed to synthetic are those that actually was created in the lab, right? Well, both of them were created in the lab, but the formulation is very different from your natural hormones, as opposed to the bioidentical. A lot of times are plant-based and look very similar to your natural hormones. Okay. So the risk can depend on how are you taking it, the patch versus the pill, the age when you start hormones. Is it before 60? Is it after 60? So those, again, conversation that is definitely needed with you and your physician, whether it's your GYN, your primary care doctor, whoever you are seeing for your symptoms or issues that you're having, you really want to partner with someone who will listen, right? Who will respect your choices and work with you to figure out what's the best fit for you. It's a very individualized when it comes to hormone therapy. There's no cookie cutter, like, we give everybody the same exact thing, or it really depends on the person. It depends on her body. It depends on her symptoms to figure out what is the best fit for her. So when we talk about hormone therapy, it's definitely helpful for vasomotor symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats, vaginal and urinary symptoms, but it's not designed to fix everything, right? So when we talk about perimenopause and menopause and what our body is experiencing, there's a lot going on, right? But at the same time, outside of us, there's a lot going on too. Family, careers, caregiving, and our bodies also responding to that. So when we take hormone therapy, I don't want women to be under the impression that, if I take this hormone, this is going to fix everything. When in fact, it will not reset your nervous system. It will not set the boundaries that you probably need to be setting. It will not replace the rest that you probably need. It will not undo years of chronic stress that you may be experiencing. So there's a lot of other things that need to be taken into account when we're talking about the experience of perimenopause and menopause. So menopause hormone therapy is certainly a support, right? It's a good support. It's a tool to help us get relief when it comes to certain symptoms. But at the same time, there's some inner work that we have to do, right? In order to actually thrive through this transition, as well as move in a way that we are being called to do, because our bodies are changing, our minds are changing, our purpose is changing. And in order for us to lean into all of that and really curate a life that we actually want and deserve in this season of our lives, we really have to commit to doing the inner work. And the inner work essentially involves us changing our perspective of what this actual season means. Because I think a lot of times when we think about, obviously when we talk about perimenopause and menopause and this time of life, it's a lot of negativity, a lot of doom and gloom and oh my God type of thing, which sometimes is warranted, right? But at the same time, we really have to look at it as an opportunity for us to really get to the next best version of ourselves, which can definitely look different to who we used to be, right? So when I hear women say, I want to get back to my normal, I say to that really you don't, because a lot of times that normal involved you taking care of everybody else except yourself, involves you doing all the things and prioritizing everybody else's needs instead of yours. It involves you staying in a career or job or in a relationship longer than you should. So we have to kind of think about that when we talk about, as we're going through these changes physiologically, other things outside of us, it can bring light to maybe we need to do something different, do it differently. So again, that involves the inner work, right? So inner work is number one, resetting our nervous systems. And because a lot of times we are stressed. There's a lot of stress going on in between. Again, the stress that's happening within our bodies, right? Because actually perimenopause just internally can cause, definitely not can, it does cause inflammation within our bodies. That sets off elevated cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. So the amount of cortisol in our bodies are already high. So if we now have other things outside of us, like the children and the husband and parents and people at work that are stressing us out, guess what? Hormone therapy is just not going to fix all that. So we have to do the inner work, and we have to start with resetting our nervous system. And that's really involves us leaning into stillness. Now I'm going to do a whole nother episode about being still, because I also realize that many don't know what that looks like or how to do that. I know I didn't know how to do that in the beginning of my journey, and I had to learn. But certainly it involves leaning into stillness and sitting with ourselves and just being aware of what we're feeling and what we need, like rest, like more boundaries, right? So that's number one. Number two is lifestyle, just aligning our lifestyle with who we want to be or who we are becoming in this season. When we talk about hormones helping with our hot flashes and even potentially helping with our sleep, but we also have to do the work of moving our bodies, exercise, whatever exercise is right for you, lifting those weights, right? Making our muscles stronger, as well as drinking our water and minding our business. And, being intentional about what we're putting in our bodies, on our skin, getting the rest that we need, right? We need that good, wholesome rest at the same time. That's what we need to have aligned, right? It's that lifestyle alignment. And number three is emotional awareness. There's so many feelings that are happening when we are experiencing different symptoms, right? Frustration, anger, sadness. And hormones can't fix what we refuse to feel. Like, I remember just pushing down all these emotions because I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel it. I don't want to feel anything negative. Like I'm trying to be this positive person, and I have all these negative emotions, and I just ignored it. I ignored the feelings. I ignored the feelings of inadequacy and just kind of, again, pushed through. But I realized that once I stopped ignoring it and really became aware and asking myself the questions, okay, what do I need? I'm feeling this way. And I actually sit with that feeling and ask again, what do I need? What do I want moving forward? So we have to be more aware and lean into those emotions instead of just ignoring them. And the fourth thing when we talk about this inner work is leaning into our purpose in this season, because it can evolve. as we are moving into these big ages, right? Y'all know I just turned 50 in July. My purpose has evolved. Like, I did not, in the beginning of my career, did not think that I would be doing this. Like, I did this was not in the plan, right? There was definitely goals of other things, but I did not, I didn't think, I thought my purpose was to stay in the practice that I was in, take care of my patients, and be there until I retire, right? That's what I thought my purpose was. But clearly that has evolved into something else. So leaning into that, right? That this is the season where God is like, it's time to shift. It is time to shift. Have you felt that at all? Like you feel like you're, whatever you're doing now, you're like, I feel like I want more, I need more, I should be doing something more, something different, something else. I know at least one of you have felt that. Like, what is the work you are meant to do in this next chapter? What is that? What does that look like? So aligning with that purpose and doing the work to do that, right? So when we talk about hormone therapy, in medicine, we say, hormone therapy is the standard of care when we're talking about treating different, menopausal symptoms. And, it's definitely effective in addressing certain symptoms, but it's not designed to, like I said, fix everything. And I honestly feel like the real standard of care is for us to care for ourselves, the care that we give to ourselves, especially as Black women, right? So your intention, your commitment to pour back into you, your willingness to slow down, to tune in and listen to your body and, figure out what your body needs right now, there's different dimensions of our wellness, right? I want women to be well, not just healthy, but well. And when we talk about hormone therapy, it certainly can help with our health, right? Because what I mentioned before, it can potentially help with heart health and bone health and things like that. But our wellness, that is on us. And the different dimensions that wellness consists of, there's mental, there's emotional, spiritual, financial, environmental, physical. There's different dimensions of wellness that we really have to tap into, right? And strive for in the midst of all the things that is happening in our lives, right? So the hormone therapy can certainly handle the hot flashes and, some other things, but we have to be intentional about doing the things that align with giving us an inner peace, a strong relationship with ourselves, as well as other relationships, and more importantly, joy. Like there's, in the midst of all the craziness that can be happening within our bodies and outside of us, we really have to be intentional about finding the joy through it all. And I'm gonna do another episode about that too, because that's a big one. So I'm gonna end with saying that this season is not just about managing the symptoms. It's more about identity shifts and gaining more agency over our bodies, birthing new things, books, businesses, ministries, and the next version of yourself. That's what this season is about. So when we talk about, menopause, hormone therapy, I'm not against it at all. Like I'm definitely, if it's not for everybody, but at the same token, it can be beneficial for women, and helping their quality of life. But I'm also about making informed decisions. And that starts with obviously getting the information, but also information about yourself and being more self-aware, right? And figuring out what your body needs and what your body wants in this stage of life. So, you being able to have that information, not only of yourself, but also about what the options are and advocating for that when you go see your doctors is important. So being able to do both, whether it's taking the hormones or not, but certainly the inner work is required either way. You have to do that, because you're honoring not only what's happening physiologically, but also honoring that woman that you are becoming through all of this. Okay? So there's no magic pill. Okay? Hormone therapy is not the magic. But the magic is going to come from you being more self-aware, having a commitment to your overall wellness. And that looks like you resetting, number one, resetting your nervous system. Number two, having lifestyle alignment. Number three, emotional awareness. And number four, leaning into that soul and purpose work. Like really, like what are you asking me to do now? What are you calling me to do now, God? Right? Okay. So your homework is, I want you to think about what your inner work is right now. Like, what inner work is your midlife asking you to do right now? Is it to get more rest? Is it to create more joy? Is it to unlearn the act of taking care of everybody else except yourself? Like, what is that? What is that for you right now? So I want you to sit with that, journal it out if you need to. Well, actually, I suggest that. I like journaling. But yeah, that's what I want you to sit with. Okay? All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. And if this resonated with you, if this spoke to you, please share it with your tribe. Share the podcast, share the episode, and leave a 5-star review. And let me know actually what your thoughts are, or what you either have more questions about hormone therapy. You can leave it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. You can send me a DM on Instagram at Dr. Joyelle. I would love to hear that, because there's so much more, right? This was just kind of like a general thing. There's so much more to say about hormone therapy, but I wanted to give y'all kind of a snippet of what that is, but at the same token that, you realizing that it's not just about taking the prescription, but certainly doing the inner work that you need in order to, lean into the woman that you are becoming in the season of your life with joy and inner peace. Okay? All right, y'all. Love and light to you all, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.